already failed to stop him more than once. But the most terrifying part? It wasn't just that he pulled the trigger. It's that no one stopped him before he did. Her name was Selena Ramos, 32 years old, a Bronx native, a mother, a sister, a friend. She worked hard, kept her circle close, and just months before her death, she was trying to start over. His name was Gabriel de Jesus Sanchez, 41, the man she loved, the man she lived with, the man who would become her killer. On the morning of February 11th, 2025, just after sunrise on Jefferson Avenue in Cypress Hills, Brooklyn, a neighbor's Ring doorbell camera captured what no one should ever see. Selena is seen running across the sidewalk. Behind her, Gabriel walks, arms steady, gun in hand. She falls. He fires. Within seconds, he turns the weapon on himself, and 2 lives are gone. By 7 a.m., police were taping off the sidewalk. By 8 a.m., the footage had gone viral. But by then, it was already too late. To the public, it looked like another domestic tragedy. But the reality was far worse. Because Gabriel had a record, Selena had been scared, and someone had known. She had a bright future. He had a violent past. This is the story of how control, mistrust, and hidden rage led to a murder caught on camera. This sets the emotional tone and lays the groundwork for the chronological story arc. Selena Ramos was a private person, quiet, hardworking, determined, holding down a day job in Brooklyn and quietly building a life she could be proud of. She wasn't perfect, but she had goals. Friends remember her for gentle strength, always smiling even during late shifts or long hours. Gabriel de Jesus Sanchez, 41, had a different story. Records show 9 prior arrests. In 2017, one fine line was crossed when he sent explicit photos to a minor. His name appeared in court documents, yet never fully reached the public eye. In private, their relationship showed cracks. Neighbors overheard loud fights late at night. One recalled, they'd argue late at night sometimes. But no one expected this. Gabriel's temper had moments. Selena pushed back. He watched her phone. He questioned every text. She joked with co-workers. He demanded to know who. To the outside world, they were a couple. But inside, trust was already broken. February 11th, 2025, 6:50 a.m., another fight inside their apartment. Words rose. The argument overwhelmed her. Selena grabbed her coat and ran. 7 a.m., barefoot, she raced down Jefferson Avenue. Police later confirmed it. She was trying to get away fast. Gabriel followed, a .38 caliber revolver in his hand. The lens of the Ring camera captured all. Her fall, then the flash of the shot. He didn't just strike once. After she dropped, he raised the gun to his own head. Neighbors reported hearing 2 loud pops and then silence. At 7:30 a.m., the NYPD arrived to a scene no one could unsee. 2 bodies, blood on concrete, horror in broad daylight. Detectives worked quickly. Gabriel's revolver lay beside him. No note. No plea. No explanations. The Ring footage time-stamped everything. It became the piece no lawyer could defend. Friends told police the fights had gotten worse. Whispered reports emerged. Police had been called before, though no public records show domestic calls. The investigation didn't unearth a confession, but brutal facts remained. Selena ran, and he shot her in the back. No defense of self was possible. No remorse. Only 2 final statements, marked forever in silenced echoes. Gabriel Sanchez, 41, legally a stranger to many, quiet, unassuming. To Selena, someone controlling, jealous. He once stalked and threatened an ex over a year before the murder. His past contained hints. Legal arrests, social media fixation, unchecked obsession. But to her, he said just enough to keep her near. He said he loved her, but only on his terms. When she tried to set boundaries, it broke him. If I can't have you, no one can. That intention, final and unforgiving, became reality. It happened in less than 10 seconds. The footage, captured by a silent doorbell camera, will become the final record of Selena Ramos' life. At exactly 7 o'clock and 8 seconds a.m., the lens clicks on. You see her first, barefoot, coat barely clinging to her shoulders. She's running. Fast. Not toward anyone, just away. Then, Gabriel Sanchez appears in the frame. Clutching a revolver. He doesn't call out. He doesn't yell her name. There is no hesitation. One shot. She falls forward, her body slumping into the sidewalk. The frame stutters. A blur. Then stillness. For a second, he just stands there, looking down at her. And then, without a word, he lifts the gun again and fires. There were no final words. No epalegi, just silence and death. This wasn't an accident. It wasn't a moment of confusion. It was cold, intentional, and final. This was a murder-suicide. Evidence at the scene, including doorbell footage, confirms the female victim was attempting to flee. The suspect pursued her with a firearm and discharged one round into her back before taking his own life. He didn't chase her to talk. He didn't want answers. He didn't need closure. He chased her to end her. And just like that, whatever future Selena had built, every plan, every day she tried to push through was gone. She ran barefoot into the morning, trying to escape the man who once said he loved her. To the world, it looked like another domestic dispute turned deadly. But what many didn't see was that this wasn't a sudden snap. This ending had been building. The evidence was there. It always is. The question is, why didn't anyone stop it? The gunshot echoed down Jefferson Avenue, but the silence afterward was even louder. There were no press conferences, no heartfelt tributes from the family, no televisita funeral. Selena Ramos was gone, and those who knew her stayed quiet. Her family never made a major public statement, maybe out of grief, maybe out of disbelief, or maybe because no words could describe the horror of watching someone you love trust the wrong person until it was too late. She ran for her life, and he made sure no one could save her. The community was shaken, not just because of what happened, but because it was preventable. Gabriel Sanchez had a history. He wasn't a stranger to law enforcement. He had been arrested 9 times. In 2017, police charged him with sending explicit material to a minor. He was known to be controlling, possessive, volatile, and yet he was free to walk the streets, free to buy a gun, free to get close to someone like Selena. There was no court order in place, no official protective filing, and no system that caught him before he pulled the trigger. This wasn't just one couple's tragedy. It was part of something larger, something systemic. Every year, thousands of women report warning signs, threats, harassment, obsession, and yet too often, it ends like this: a memorial on the sidewalk, and a community asking why. In the US, more than 1 in 3 women experience intimate partner violence. Every day, on average, 3 women are murdered by a current or former partner. If you or someone you know is in danger, please call the National Domestic Violence. Help is available. You're not alone. Selena never got the chance to ask for help. Or maybe she did, and no one listened loud enough. Her story shouldn't be forgotten, not just because of how she died, but because of what it tells us about who we fail to protect. What if someone had called earlier? What if a neighbor had spoken up about the screaming at night? What if Gabriel had been held accountable for his past arrests, especially the ones that showed clear patterns of control and manipulation? What if the system had flagged the signs before it was too late? And what if Selena had gotten away just seconds faster? But there were no second chances, no reset button, only a sidewalk, stained with the final moments of a woman who trusted the wrong person, and a man who couldn't stand to let her go. Was justice ever really possible in this case? Or was it already too late? If you or someone you know is in a dangerous relationship, don't wait. Trust your instincts. Speak up. Document everything. Call someone. You might not get another chance. Now, we want to hear from you. Do you think this could have been prevented? Was this a failure of the system? Or something deeper? Let us know in the comments. Let your voice be heard. White Heavy Checkmark subscribe to Crime Chronicle for more real stories behind the headlines. Bell hit the bell so you never miss a case. L, in memory of Selena Ramos, 1992 to 2025. May her story not be forgotten. Emergency protective order granted. Those 4 words were supposed to save 25-year-old Marisol Fuentes' life. Instead, they became her death sentence. Welcome to Crime Chronicle. Kindly subscribe and put on the notification bell. On July 6th, 2025, inside La Casita restaurant in Berlin, New Hampshire, Marisol lay bleeding on the floor while her estranged husband, Michael Gleason Jr., walked calmly into the bathroom. Minutes later, a single gunshot would end his life too. But here's what will shock you. The courts had already ordered him to surrender his weapons. So how did he get the gun that killed her? What you're about to discover will expose a system that failed at every level, and why Marisol's desperate pleas for help were ignored until it was too late. 3 months earlier, April 28th, 2025, Marisol Fuentes stood before a Berlin judge, her hands trembling as she described the nightmare her marriage had become. She wasn't just asking for help, she was begging for her life. The court documents paint a horrifying picture. Michael Gleason Jr., her 50-year-old husband, had trapped her inside their home. What happened next involves physical assault, sexual violence, and a level of control that would make your skin crawl. But I won't give you those details yet, because what matters most is what Marisol did about it. She did everything right. Everything the system told her to do. She called the police. She pressed charges. She obtained that emergency protective order. The judge looked at the evidence and agreed. Michael Gleason Jr. was dangerous. But here's where our story takes its first dark turn. While Marisol received her protection order from one judge, Michael appeared before a different authority entirely. Magistrate Judge Stephanie Johnson, a newly appointed position created just months earlier as part of New Hampshire's bail reform experiment. $5,000 bail. That's what Judge Johnson decided Michael's freedom was worth. $5,000 to walk free after allegedly imprisoning and assaulting his wife. But wait, there's more. The court also ordered him to surrender any firearms in his possession. Can you guess what happens next? Because what happened in that courtroom would seal Marisol's fate and expose a system so broken that even New Hampshire Supreme Court Chief Justice would eventually call for a complete review. 2 months pass. May, June. Marisol tries to rebuild her life, believing the court system has protected her. She has her restraining order. Michael has been ordered to stay away. He's supposed to be weapon-free. She starts working at La Casita restaurant, bringing her Mexican warmth to the cold New England community. But something was happening behind the scenes. Something the courts didn't anticipate. July 6th, 2025. 25-year-old Marisol Fuentes arrives at La Casita for what she believes is just another day at work. She has no idea that Michael has been planning. She has no idea he's obtained another weapon, despite the court order. She has no idea that the protection order she fought so hard to obtain is about to become meaningless. Here's what investigators piece together. Michael walks into the restaurant. Witnesses later describe him as calm, determined. This wasn't a crime of passion. This was execution. The gunshots echo through the small Berlin establishment. Customers dive for cover. Someone calls 911. But for Marisol, it's already too late. Michael doesn't try to run. He doesn't try to hide. He walks methodically to the restaurant's bathroom, closes the door, and ends his own life with the same weapon he used to murder his wife. But here's the question that haunts this case. Where did he get the gun? Court records show he was ordered to surrender his firearms back in April. Police confirmed he complied with that order. So how did a man under a restraining order, facing domestic violence charges, obtain a deadly weapon just months later? The answer exposes a fatal flaw in our justice system. While New Hampshire requires surrender of existing weapons, there's no mechanism to prevent someone from acquiring new ones. Michael simply bought another gun, legally. The investigation revealed the tragic irony of Marisol's death. She had done everything the system asked of her. She sought help. She obtained protection. She trusted the courts to keep her safe. But the system failed her in the most catastrophic way possible. New Hampshire Supreme Court Chief Justice Gordon MacDonald was so disturbed by this case that he ordered an unprecedented review. Justice Melissa Countway and Circuit Court Administrative Judge Ellen Christo were assigned to investigate every decision, every missed opportunity, every systemic failure that led to Marisol's death. State Representative Lori Curzon went even further, calling for Magistrate Judge Johnson to resign, stating, "The gravity of this oversight cannot be ignored." But this wasn't an isolated incident. Just 3 years earlier, another New Hampshire domestic violence case ended in murder when a judge denied a permanent restraining order, citing lack of evidence. That case prompted a sweeping review that found the court system completely overwhelmed. Too few attorneys, too few advocates, too many cases. The magistrate position that granted Michael bail? It was part of an experimental bail reform program that has since been terminated. Governor Kelly Ayotte signed legislation ending these positions just months after Marisol's murder. Marisol Fuentes was born in Jalisco, Mexico. Her obituary describes her as having a $1 million smile and warmth that brought the sun of Mexico to the cold winters of New England. She was a hardworking woman who lost her life, as her obituary states, at the hands of misogyny and domestic violence. Marisol's story isn't just about one tragic failure. It's about a system that promises protection but delivers false hope. It's about restraining orders that exist on paper but offer no real security. It's about the deadly gap between surrendering existing weapons and preventing acquisition of new ones. Her death sparked systemic changes in New Hampshire's courts, but across America, how many other Marisols are out there right now, holding protection orders and believing they're safe? If this story affected you, share it. Because Marisol's voice was silenced, but her story must not be. Kindly subscribe to Crime Chronicle because it has been true Crime Chronicles.
Now take a look at your screen. This is on Highway 51 just inside Dyer County. Several deputies had guns drawn and then they went up to Hopper after they told him to get out of the car, and you can see them starting to hit him. Now several deputies, they demanded him to get out of the car. Hopper gets out.
It was supposed to be a day of hope. October 19th, 2024. A young woman had just finished volunteering at a breast cancer awareness walk in Memphis, Tennessee. She was walking toward her Jeep Wrangler, probably thinking about the lives she'd helped that day, maybe planning her future as a doctor. What happened next would destroy not just her dreams, but the dreams of everyone who loved her. This decision to end a toxic relationship would cost Ellie Young her life. And if you want to stay updated on cases like this one that shake communities to their core, make sure to subscribe to Crime Chronicle and hit that notification bell. Welcome back to Crime Chronicle, where we examine the cases that reveal the devastating reality behind domestic violence in America. Meet Ellie Claire Young, 22 years old, a student at the University of Tennessee Health Science Center, determined to become a doctor just like her older sister. Her friend described her as the kind of person whose smile could be seen and whose laugh could be heard from over a mile away. But on October 19th, 2024, at Shelby Farms Park in Memphis, Ellie's bright future would come to a violent end. The person responsible? 26-year-old Jackson Hopper, her ex-boyfriend, a man who apparently couldn't accept that their relationship was over. But here's what makes this case even more chilling. This wasn't a crime of sudden passion. The evidence suggests this was calculated, planned, and it happened in broad daylight at one of Memphis's most popular public spaces. Saturday morning, October 19th, Ellie woke up with a purpose. She was volunteering at the annual Breast Cancer Awareness Walk, the kind of selfless act that defined who she was. Her sorority sister, Danny Fuel, would later say that Ellie was kind, genuine, passionate, determined, and selfless. What Ellie didn't know was that Jackson Hopper was watching, waiting. At 12:20 p.m., just after she'd finished volunteering, Ellie walked to her Jeep Wrangler in the parking lot at Shelby Farms Park. She probably felt safe. This was a public place, broad daylight, people around. But safety was an illusion. Witnesses would later tell police they saw Ellie sitting in her Jeep when a white Honda CR-V pulled up. The driver fired 2 shots behind her vehicle. But here's where it gets truly horrifying. When Ellie got out of her Jeep, possibly trying to escape or understand what was happening, the gunman fired at least one more shot as she lay on the ground. This wasn't just murder. This was execution. Deputies arrived at Shelby Farms Park to find Ellie lying on the ground near her Jeep Wrangler. Multiple gunshot wounds. She was pronounced dead at the scene. But here's what investigators discovered that changes everything about this case. This wasn't random violence. This wasn't a robbery gone wrong. When police interviewed Ellie's family, they revealed a crucial detail. She and Jackson Hopper had recently broken up. The white Honda CR-V was quickly traced back to Hopper. But what police found when they dug deeper into his background revealed a pattern that should have been a warning. Multiple charges in other counties: reckless driving, aggravated assault, reckless endangerment. This was a man with a history of dangerous behavior. And here's something that'll make your blood run cold. After shooting Ellie multiple times, Hopper simply got back into his car and drove away. No remorse, no panique, just cold calculation. But what investigators didn't know yet was how far Jackson Hopper's obsession had gone. The evidence would soon reveal this wasn't his first attempt to control Ellie's life. What makes this case particularly tragic is what we're learning about the relationship between Ellie and Jackson. Friends and family described Ellie as someone who brought joy into every room, someone determined to change the world through medicine. But something darker was lurking beneath the surface of their relationship. While specific details about their relationship haven't been fully disclosed, the fact that Jackson had multiple pending charges in different counties suggests this wasn't his first encounter with the law. Here's what every woman needs to understand about cases like this. The most dangerous time in an abusive relationship is when the victim tries to leave. Statistics show that a woman is 70 times more likely to be killed in the weeks after leaving an abusive partner than at any other time. Ellie had made the brave decision to end the relationship. She was moving forward with her life, pursuing her dreams, volunteering in her community. She was doing everything right. But for Jackson Hopper, Ellie's independence was intolerable. Think about this. He tracked her to a public event. He waited for her to finish volunteering. He followed her to her car. This level of surveillance, this calculated approach, suggests he'd been planning this for some time. Jackson Hopper was arrested and charged with first-degree murder. When he appeared in court on Monday, he pleaded not guilty. His attorney, Leslie Ballin, is representing him, but the evidence against him seems overwhelming. Shelby County District Attorney Steve Mulroy requested that Hopper be held without bond, and for good reason. The charges against him extend beyond murder. He's facing multiple charges across different counties, suggesting a pattern of escalating violence. But here's what's truly heartbreaking. While Jackson sits in jail, Ellie's family and friends left to process an unimaginable loss. The University of Tennessee community, her Chi Omega sorority sisters, everyone who knew her bright spirit, are struggling to understand how someone's refusal to accept rejection could lead to such devastating violence. Danny Fuel, Ellie's sorority sister, put it perfectly. Her bright future as a doctor was something she looked forward to for as long as I knew her. She was determined to change the world. Jackson Hopper didn't just kill Ellie that day. He killed all the lives she might have saved as a doctor. He stole her laughter from every room she would have entered. He robbed the world of someone who dedicated her Saturdays to helping others fight cancer. This case isn't just about Ellie Young and Jackson Hopper. Every day, nearly 3 women are killed by an intimate partner, making the United States one of the deadliest countries for women and girls. Ellie's story represents a devastating reality that plays out across America every single day. Young women with bright futures, making positive changes in their communities, having their lives cut short by men who can't accept the word no. What makes Ellie's case particularly tragic is that she was everything we want in our future healthcare providers: compassionate, dedicated, selfless. She spent her final morning helping others, and hours later, she was dead because her ex-boyfriend couldn't accept that their relationship was over. Jackson Hopper will have his day in court. The evidence will be presented. Justice will hopefully be served. But no verdict will bring back Ellie's laughter, her dreams of becoming a doctor, or the countless lives she might have saved. If you or someone you know is in an abusive relationship, please reach out for help. The National Domestic Violence Hotline is available 24/7. What do you think? Should there have been warning signs that prevented this tragedy? How can we better protect women like Ellie who are trying to escape dangerous relationships? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If this case affected you the way it affected me, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to Crime Chronicle. We cover cases like this not for sensationalism, but because these stories need to be told. These victims deserve to be remembered. Until next time, stay safe, and remember, if something doesn't feel right, trust your instincts.